This is Tom Asper with the Viper Report. In today's ongoing sessions on the T&J's watch list, I want to dive further into how the DTS signals work and how they can help you spot a major turn in a sector that will also lead to major opportunities in the components of that sector if you're a stock or option trader. This is part 3. YouTube has the other 2 parts available. If you haven't seen them, I would suggest you look at them. And also, if you have any questions after your video or on the other videos for that matter, just send them to me at tom@viperreport.com. I would like to have a further discussion on some of the topics we discuss here. And also, if you want the latest ETF report, that's the same address to use. So here's the latest sort of scan as of Tuesday morning, the 27th of February. I run this all the time on our holdings in the Viper ETF report. So these are pretty much our positions, and later on I'll show you on Viper report you can see where we entered these positions, what date, etc., and what our entry price was. So pretty basic quarterly pivot, the weekly DTS signals. Okay, so this is the longer term. You can see only one negative, that's gold, and it's been negative actually for a couple of weeks. Despite last week's rally, it wasn't enough to turn either the weekly or the 3-day positive, but the daily did flip. So, we've been long GLD for quite a while. Basically what I did was we raised the stop to just about break even, give it some room on the upside, and we'll see what happens. As of the Monday close, XLC is negative both on the DTS, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour, and you can see it's below, its 10-period EMA. So how does this process work? So I monitor a table like that on a regular basis. So we had a really good run so far in XLK since October, and I wanted to take you through on how the DTS signals could have helped you in that matter. So first we'll look at the 260 DTS, which you can see from this chart turned positive in late October here, and we started a pretty good climb to the upside. A few days later, as we'll show you later, we had a daily DTS too. So the first thing I look for is the 4-hour, basically, and then I look to see if it transitions into a daily, and depending on how the technical indicators like the volume and other indicators, then I decide whether to take a position for traders or investors. So the 260 had a pretty good run here. You can see each of these yellows is when it closed above the Stark bands, and each of these we had a little pullback. So those were additional entry points. We had a longer period of consolidation that we talked about the time in the Viper ETF report in early December, but it really didn't change some of the signals. So we'll get into that in a second. And basically, there were a number of signals going up, and so each of those new, for example, we've been long throughout that, short sell signals here or here, are analyzed to see whether that requires a change in a stop or in our positions. In this case, they did not. And recently, the latest signal was a positive back here last week, and it's still in force. Of course, the daily is what I discuss about often in the reports, and you can see here's once again the daily chart. We had that correction that was really evident in July, which we noted at the time, and it lasted quite a while. This sort of corrective pattern here you don't see too often. Well, I saw it actually in 2004 in the overall market that just kind of whipped everybody out before it turned around. That's what happened this time too. But you can see that the volume started to turn positive. Here was the DTS buy on the 1st of November. We'd just down to the Stark band, so that's another thing I consider. right in here. Volume was in positive, and also the Asprey Insight, which is a combination of relative performance data that is created by Jerry A., which of course he's the guy that put together the entire chart. And so that was all pretty good, and trading longs were established. Investors had started to get in, I think is October 2nd, and we had a pretty good, there was a brief sell signal here in December, but nothing changed in terms of the daily technical studies. Another push to the upside. This one was a little sharper in the early part of the year. It was a 5-day sort of like, too much too fast, but basically we try to keep the stops pretty wide, and we rode that one out. Another sharp push to the upside. Traders eventually sold out their remaining position, up around in this area here, and then just on Monday we advised that investors sell half their position, so they're still 50% long from. So you can see the overall trend in the volume is positive and doesn't suggest that a major turn has occurred. A new addition to the technical tools is the 3-day charts. Hats off to Jerry for I didn't take a lot of convincing, but when he showed me how neat they work, I've got okay. That's a new one, and I really like it. So this is a 3-day bars. Okay, so a pretty good sell here. In July. We got some whipsaws here, but we handle those by this buy here. Okay, well we're already getting close to the Stark band up here. So anyway, we'd look for a pullback, and then the pullback turned into a sell, so we wouldn't do anything. Basically, in early October, we did look at this and got in, and we had a stop that was just wide enough so we didn't get stopped out at the start of November. So we had a positive signal here just after the daily. This is the 3-day chart, remember, up above the Stark bands, sideways. That's what you expect to see with Stark band analysis. If you haven't looked at the Stark bands, you really should do it. Another sell here, but it was quickly reversed by a buy, and so far still positive. So you can see that these dashed lines are the close only stop, which at this point was around 200.9. The volume supported the 3-day. You can see we had a nice pattern of lower highs in the volume analysis that was broken, that coincided with the 3-day buy, as did the Asprey Insight. Another thing I should mention that Jerry cooked up, which I really like, and didn't think outside of the box enough to realize it was possible, is what he's done with I rely a lot on the 20-period EMAs. So when it's declining, it's yellow. When it's rising, it's blue. And you look at it's been rising throughout here. So we had a couple of really good pullbacks here at the start of the year, back to the rising 20-period EMA, which was another good entry point. And up here you can see at this point it was at 197.03 was the level of the 20-day. So of course a lot of short-term traders out there, and they say, well, what about shorter time frames? Okay, well I do monitor those as the table indicated, and sometimes they work really clean. Like for example, October 27th there was a 60-minute positive DTS here, and basically it stayed intact until the middle part of November. You can see it was subsequently added to by the daily and the 3-day. So you look for that progression, and that keeps you in tune with what the market is doing, because obviously the sentiment is a big factor. Sentiment going into October, but particularly the end of October, was very bearish. Then you start to see some technical, objective, unbiased signs that things are changing. So the hourly signals can be quite valuable, but also mathematically sometimes you get quick signals here that are pretty much, hard to trade. And the other analysis, Stark bands, etc., seems to work better. We have again began to put up more articles that I contributed to Forbes.com up on the Viper report. And as we mentioned a few weeks ago, everyone was saying, well, January is strong. That means February can't be strong. So far, it's been doing pretty good. So here's we post the latest positions on the website, so you can check about what the methods we just discussed, how they've translated into trades. And you can see that if you click on these, they'll expand even further. So these are the as of Friday's close. So we were 100% long XLK from 64.01, and we sold half of that out on Monday for a 25% gain. Of course, past performance is no guarantee of future results. We're going to hold on to that with a fairly wide stop at this point, and in case we get weekly sell signals, then we'd probably look for a place to exit. We'd already exited the trading position last week, at 267, and here are the rest of some of the recent ones we've added have been in biotech, XOP, as well as the consumer discretionary and the Vanguard Healthcare. In the next video, we'll take a look at using the ETF analysis and translating that into picking individual stocks based on their DTS signals. Of course, if you'd like to subscribe to either the Viper Report or the Hot Stocks, you can sign up here to a monthly subscription. And I hope you'll take a look at some of these articles. I think you'll see something in a different way of looking at the markets than what you read online or in the financial media. And if you want to sign up on the Viper Report YouTube, you'll be able to get notifications of new updates, and you can see a bunch of different videos we put up there for your review. Hope you have a great week, and please send me your feedback. Thank you.